Hello guys, welcome to another video of this channel. Now today we'll be taking a look at how you can actually scale your small business, right? Now, each one and every one of us, right, like maybe that have a business, at least that have a business, we want our business to grow someday, right? We want a life whereby we don't have to work to the business every day, like waking up every day and going to do menial tasks or so small simple tasks, right, that uh other people can do. We want to employ people, employ people, maybe employ machines and things like that, since with the this arrival of AI. But we want a world where we our business is actually able to run and grow uh, on a larger scale, right? And where we get a lot of money without actually putting in the effort ourselves. So we want that kind of thing. Now, is it possible to do that? Yes, it is, at least in some businesses. But, and again, there's a lot of things that have to be met before that dream can be actually achieved. So, today we're going to look at how or the ways in which you can do that, but provided all the conditions are met, right? So, the first one, right? Oh, before I actually talk about these points or mention any point, right? Um, as I've said, like growing a business, right? It means that yes, your operations will be expanded, but you'll be getting more revenue. That is the point. More revenue, and one is like the costs are minimal or kept at minimal. So that's basically the idea, and that is what we call the economies of scale, right? Like when you run a business on a larger scale, the cost basically drops. So that's it. So before, as I've said, that dream can be achieved, certain things have to be done. When there's certain things, certain conditions have to be met. Now, the first thing to do right before you grow a business is that your business should already have a strong foundation. And what do I mean that? I mean, there must be demand, right? Like real demand for products, right? That demand should be proven, and uh, it must be profitable, right? So as long as that's actually the very first you know condition, right? Because if with that, actually those are the pillar that drives your business in the first instance. Because if you don't have demand for products and services, then you don't have customers, then you don't have money. That's simple. So demand has to be proven. Like there is a lot of demand that if you increase or provide more of that service or provide more of that product or produce it, it will be bought. It will have customers. So that's the very first thing. So the next one is your business should already have internal controls, right? Proper internal controls, and also like the financial system, right? So the system has to be working. Right? It has to be working. I've seen a lot of people that just opened like new branches everywhere without a proper system, right? Because one thing you have to remember is that when you open new branches, to open maybe new maybe it's plants, or maybe it's all those branches around the world, or maybe around the country, or whatever the case might be, you now have to oversee them. So you must have a way in which you can actually oversee what is happening there without stressing yourself uh, traveling up and down. So having a proper system in place is very important. So what do I mean by that? For example, you might have or have like relationships with auditors, maybe auditing companies, right? If you must have like softwares, right, that you can actually just open and check the transactions that took place, business transactions. So you must have all those kind of things, and there's supposed to be a structure in which people and employees report certain things to you, right? And there's supposed to be people actually doing different things, and they must have responsibilities. But if it's a marketing manager, they deal with the marketing part of the business. If it's an accountant, they have a part to play in the business, in the accounting space. So you must have those kind of things, which means, of course, you have to um, standardize your operations, right, across your business. So by standardizing operations, I mean, if let's say you have got one shop maybe in one city or town, that shop must serve as a yardstick for other shops that are going to open in other countries, other places, I mean, other cities, right? For example, let's say you've got a shop maybe in, just using the South African context, you have a shop in Johannesburg, right? That's the first or the headquarters, HQ, as other people say it. Then, if you open a branch in Pretoria, that branch must function and must have the same standard as those in Johannesburg. So everything has to operate in a kind of similar way, right? Which means the marketing has to be the same, right? The inventory management, customer service, the sales, how you handle all these things, they have to be a standard, right? So that's another criteria actually that you need to meet. And now three, or next option, is to invest in technology. So as I've mentioned before, like the accounting software, the software that can help you manage your business, right? Right, wherever you are, right? Make it easier to manage your business. But apart from that, maybe the accounting software, for example, if for the accounting software in place, like Pastel, it can help you automate things, right? Automate certain transactions that you wouldn't do, what you wouldn't do if you were just manually doing the entire thing. Two, you have to have like implement things like CRM, like customer relationship management programs. By that I mean programs that can help you build better, longer relationships with your clients. So things include things like what maybe discounts, doing like discounts, anything that can actually help you to appease your customers to come back, right? Especially your favorite and your best customers. And three, under this particular criteria is inventory management. So inventory management, as I've said, I think I talked about inventory management in one of my videos when about using AI for business growth. But on inventory management, of course, since you are operating on a larger scale now, right? The amount of maybe inventory or raw materials, if you're a producer, it will be big, huge, large, right? Whatever the case might be. So you need a better way, a software, a tech in which you can know uh, the stock that is maybe in Johannesburg, for example, using the same analytical concept that I used earlier about opening a shop in Johannesburg and throughout the country in South Africa, right? So you must have a software that can help you determine how much stock is in Johannesburg, how much stock is in Pretoria, how much stock is in Cape Town, how much stock is in Durban. So you must have a software that can help you to deal with that, right? And then since you are expanding, which means customers or your market, it will be expanded also. So you'll be dealing with a lot of customers, clients, and some might have problems, queries that they need addressed, right? So in this case, you need to invest in a technology that can help you in customer support. So you need to have that in mind before you expand. So that's another criteria. Invest in the technology that your business will use to kind of smoothen its operations. And the next point is to expand your customer base. So since you'll be moving to different maybe cities across the country, you must have a way in which you can actually acquire new customers, right? One of the most effective ways is, of course, digital marketing. But now everybody has social media, but most of us that we stay a lot on social media, on our phones, on our laptops, and things like that. So you're supposed to have some sort of a digital marketing programs that you run within your business, or you set up, or whatever the case might be. Know more about search engine optimization, right? When customers are googling maybe for certain products that your business provides, you must make sure that your name always appear, or your business name or products actually appear on the top of the search engine results there. So SEO is actually very good. So this is actually the marketing part, right? You have to improve your marketing in general. Social media marketing, as I've said. Now referral programs. Now the referral programs are actually an interesting thing, and this is something that I've seen like a lot of people, a lot of businesses that don't implement. Right? There are some people that just assume that marketing is free. They just assume that, you know, referring somebody is free. For me, I've always said it for many years that there's nothing free when it comes to marketing. If I bring a client to you, that's work. If I'm to recommend someone to your business and you make a sale, I'm supposed to get something, and that is a commission. So if you're running a small business and you haven't thought in that direction, you must start thinking it about now, right? Just thinking it about now, because maybe probably that's why you don't have customers in the first place, right? Because referrals are very important, right? If you're to market some, that's actually marketing, right? If someone is coming to you with clients, they're actually marketing, they're bringing you, some revenue. So you are supposed to have a way in which you reward those kind of people. So the next thing is strategic partnership. Now, by strategic partnership, I think we're actually talking about partnering with the different stakeholders, right? It can be other businesses, for example, if maybe a business within your industry, if you want to expand, possibly you can use the funds and things like that. But also it can be uh, partnering with suppliers, right? Building a strong supply chain, right? Because building a stronger supply chain, it means that you always have uh, inventory to supply your what your market, your target market. And you can also maybe build partnership with professionals in the industry, like the uh, lawyers, accountants, what others, business consultants like myself, right? That can help you in dealing with some of the issues that you might face within your business, right? So that's one of them. And another important aspect is business networking, which is almost similar to what I'm talking about, like partnerships. But with networking, like working with other businesses rather than competing, merging together, maybe merging certain operations, certain parts, uh, and then work together to gain the entire market, right? Entire market. And I've seen other people that actually do this, because business networking is actually very important. And just as an example on what business networking is all about, I look at the spaza shop, right? The spaza shop situation in South Africa, and how Somalis are controlling the entire industry. That's business networking right there. Those people know each other, they work together, they work as one. right? Nobody's working independently. They know how to um, work their supply chain, right? And actually protect it. Actually, to the point of doing some criminal criminal things. There is a criminality in there, especially with the kidnapping of that boy. Um, so yeah, unfortunately, it results in that they are trying to protect that industry for their own, which of course it won't end well. That's actually my honest opinion. But here I'm just trying to show you the importance of business networking and what a business networking can actually achieve, right? Because I've realized, especially in Africa, Southerners like myself, when you speak with somebody, right, like telling somebody, you know what, why not combine our resources and work together? Many people actually always frown at this, right? Because here everybody wants to own everything themselves, right? They don't want to share anything. But that's where the problem is right now, because when you're running a business, all the burden comes onto you, right? The cost, everything. And it makes it stressful to run a business. But if you are to work on a networking basis, right, other people bear the burden also. But no, here we run a business, especially small businesses, as like a freelance kind of thing. And if you have that kind of mindset, your business is not going to grow. That's just the truth. So sometimes it takes networking to actually build a better business, right? By networking, you're actually achieving a lot of things. You're actually trying something new or experimenting with less risks, right? Your risk in capital is very low as opposed to operating alone. For example, if let's say we want to, uh, maybe I'm producing maybe um, this phone, so like a phone, right? Or maybe let's say this microphone right here. And I've seen that there's a little bit of demand here, but I want to also try that maybe, for example, where I am right now is in Mosina, right? And I want to open the same business in Johannesburg. Maybe that will take me, that will require something like 200,000 rands. But if let's say I'm to find how many? Four people, right? I'm the fourth one. I'm going to produce 50,000 rands. So I'm actually risking less, right? And the other guys will produce 150. So 50,000 rands, 50,000 and 50,000, 59,000, that's about 200,000 rands. So end of the day, if bad things happen, I won't lose 200,000 rands. I'll only lose 50,000 rands. So that's the importance of working together. The risk becomes very, very low. Now, on the next point, right? Where was I? Right. So also, what you can do to grow your business, right? As much as some people they think that growing a business is actually maybe operating or opening new, what do you call this? New branches and things like that, and maybe coming up with new products and things like that. Actually, it is not, right? Sometimes you might expand on the current offerings, like with your current customer. What do I mean by this? Like for example, let's say I'm selling certain things, like maybe I'm selling let's say mouse, like a computer mouse, right? Uh, I can actually sell a keyboard and upsell the customer. I know this is actually a bad idea because upselling maybe requires complementary products, right? But this is just an example, right? Let's say I'm selling mouses, but this is part of the computer kind of technology, right? I'm selling mouse. I can actually upsell those same customers a keyboard, right? So that's upselling, right? You're actually increasing revenue per customer rather than looking for another customer to sell a mouse to. Right now, you're just selling all these products to one client. So it's another thing to kind of consider as well when you're trying to grow a business, right? Um, so yeah, you have to be a little bit analytical at that point. So upselling actually involves actually selling people premium products and services, right? This is actually very good, especially in the service sector, right? Where, for example, like DSTV, right? It did, I don't know if it still does, but it does actually still operating, right? Operational. So it has different packages, right? There's home package, compact, and things like that. So there are premium services that you pay high prices for, and they're the standard, services. So things like that, and cross-selling offerings is something that I've said, right? And I actually run loyalty programs. So these are reward kind of programs like discounts, right? I think I've said that before. Like if you buy certain things, you're going to get this much discount and things like that. And those kind of things always brings or makes actually customers to buy more, right? Subscription services, I think I've made that. Like now this is a little bit problem. It can be a problem sometimes, especially in subscription, right? Um, for example, Adobe Adobe actually used to give its products. You could actually buy their products back in the day, like for the designing softwares like Illustrator, Designer, is it Designer, InDesign, in Photoshop. Now those things used to be grouped together. We had to pay once off price. Then they were yours, right? You didn't have to pay anything. They just give you a license. Nowadays they subscribe, right? They use like subscription service where you have to pay every month. I think it's every month or every year. I don't know what the situation right now, but and that's it, right? And a lot of people don't like it. They hate it, and they've lost some of their market share to other like competitors like Canva, Affinity Designer. Canva, I said purchased Affinity Designer, and like this is just an example, right? So yeah, you can actually maybe kind of lock them on a subscription base, but it's actually it will be good if your service is something that people cannot do without. Apart from this, another thing that you need to consider before you expand and grow a business is the human resource part, right? The management part. Do you have the right people to manage your business, right? Can those people be trusted to run a business independently? Do they have the skills to do that? So building the right team is very important, right? I I would say, for example, take a look at ShopRite, right? The way ShopRite operates, it's all over the country, right? And it's in other African countries as well. It is not easy to run multiple outlets like that without having professionals on the ground. It is not easy. So it takes good and highly qualified people to do that. So before you expand, make sure that you have those right teams, right? You have the professionals in place, and those people can actually do the job without much surveillance, right? But of course, Shoprite is a company that is actually owned by a lot of people, right? And like the owners are basically shareholders. It's not like one person that owns everything. They're literally shareholders. Maybe some are not even in this country. But this is just to give you an example. And you must also have programs that will help to train your employees in doing certain things within the organization itself, right? Have programs that help train and equip the employees with certain skills that are required. So this will all make sure that everybody is on the same page. And the last point, right, that you have to make sure that you address before you actually expand is monitoring and measuring, right? You must measure whatever matters, right? If there's growth in your money, like revenue, you must have a way to measure it. If there's costs, if there are costs associated with expansion, have ways to measure that. Customer retention, transactions, and like employee productivity have those metrics set up so that you can be able to make proper decisions on whether to de-invest or reinvest or invest more or things like that. So it is important to have all these things checked out before you operate if you want it to be, or you want to increase your chances of being successful. So that's it, guys. So growing a business is not a small task. All right, you can't just do it the traditional way that we do business, right? You have to change your mindset. Your mindset have to change, and you have to now adopt certain things that you wouldn't adopt if you are running your own business, where you're actually overseeing everything. But when you expand, right? When you expand, most of the things won't be easy to manage, right? There are certain things that will be out of your own hands. So I work with different people, different business owners, and hey, to tell the truth, there's a reason why most people, especially in Africa, right, well, we can't grow our businesses, right? It is because the mindset is just not there, right? People just love to manage their small businesses, and they don't want to grow. And the way they want to grow, right, growing while it's being personally involved in that business, it doesn't work. And again, if you're to grow a business, guys, you must also consider other things like registering a business, like shares, and actually selling the stake of the business to other people, and actually inviting other people to invest in your business and actually manage that business and make decisions. So sometimes it takes that. If you look at billionaires out there, right, most of them, they don't own or fully own a business, right? They simply manage it with other investors, other billionaires, other millionaires, whatever the case might be. They just own a stake, right? All they have to do is maybe do board meetings and things like that. If there's something that needs to be implemented, all of them come there, they discuss on what needs to be implemented, and that's it. So you have to get into that business atmosphere. So guys, that's all that's all that I have on this video, and that's my advice. So apart from that, I'll say thank you for watching this video, and until then, see you on the next one.